then you are a dangerous extremist. Now, with that intimidation tactic at play, you have two choices. You can either abide by your courage and vote with your conscience, or you can cower down in fear from the intimidation and vote accordingly. And I don't know about you, but I know I'm the type of person who's intimidated into the correct answer. In closing, we're living at a critical time, and admittedly, the media does a pretty good job of smearing people for you. But with midterms approaching and Dems way down in the polls, and a lot of Democrats already unfortunately announcing that they'll be voting red, during this critical time, you can't leave it all up to the media. You've got to take it upon yourself and do the work to make sure you help make a difference in making sure that no difference is made. It's my...
Unbelievable.
So, Awaken with JP, I have this one here for you right now. How about we get into the heart of this message? Awaken with JP right here.
What's up, sports fan? Midterm elections are approaching. Quite an exciting time. But here's the problem. If you've always been a loyal Democratic voter, you might be facing the internal struggle of starting to see how the left's corruption and hidden agendas are hurting you and your family. I mean, obviously we all want inflation and wide open borders that allow dangerous criminals, human trafficking, and fentanyl into our country unchecked, along with food supply and energy shortages, and a gradual erosion of constitutional rights. Now we all...
You know, for as ridiculous some of these things are, many people do seem to believe that no matter what the Democratic Party is doing, we still should vote responsible for all these open borders and all these different issues, the inflation problems, and the poor excuses that are given for these reasons as well, and also just the trans movement and the mutilating children genitals and so on, and puberty blockers, and the party who's been supporting that and all the extras that they come with. Some still want us to vote Democrats. Some still are going to vote Democrat regardless. I think it's best you vote at all, or you make a decision for the Republican Party, or you altogether just pray about it. Because for me to go and vote Democrats, knowing what I know now, it is naive. It is willful blindness. It is willingly ignorance. I can't do that. It's just, the more I look into this stuff, is the more I'm convinced that there is an agenda at work to confuse and to mislead and to leave us really even more confused than ever before. Let's go, JP.
We all want a lot of these glorious things, don't we? But maybe you're starting to see that we're beginning to have too much of these good things, and the tide will only continue to rise even further if you keep voting exclusively blue. So what can you do? Keep voting blue no matter what!
No.
I'm going to teach you how to weaponize some psychological tactics against yourself so that you can keep voting blue. But first, you might be wrestling with the internal struggle of, if I keep voting blue no matter who, I see the evidence that things will only get worse. But I'm scared to vote for a candidate who seems better suited for the job, who happens to be a Republican.
Yeah.
I understand your struggle. And
a lot of people go through this, and that's psychological, that reverse psychology he's doing here, and with a little bit of satirical. It's exactly how a lot of people feel. They realize something is wrong with the Democratic Party, but they're like, I can't go with the Republican Party either because there's some things that are not perfect there. So they are very careful, and I am as well. I'm very concerned about making my decision. But one thing I know for certain is that I can't vote blue. I can't. I wish there was a green. Christ is the green. I'll vote for Jesus maybe, but but he's not running for political stuff down here. His kingdom is more in our hearts. Is more in heaven. But nevertheless, yeah, man, blue or red pill. Which one you want? I want the green pill. But yeah, so what do we do? Do we just ignore all these factors? Do we just ignore all these evidence that are in our face? Or do we just act like as if there isn't something wrong with the party? Are we gonna just go along with it no matter what is being said? I think JP is doing a great job at this one.
can assure you it's not okay to change your mind in how you vote. So let's dive headfirst into the shallow end on some effective strategies that'll teach you how to violate your conscience and courage so you can keep voting blue no matter who. So listen up and do as I say. Smear people. Now, you might encounter a Republican candidate who seems to you like a person who will serve you and the people better than their Democratic opponent. You might even be tempted to vote for this person. Don't be fooled by what you think. You need to smear that person so you can trick yourself out of believing what you would otherwise believe about that person. Here's how to properly smear them. Step number 1. See who they are and what they stand for, and now ignore that person. Step number 2, then make up a bunch of insults, stories, and negative character traits and project them over here as though it's a different person, because it is, but give them the same name. This smearing process will help you avoid seeing this person over here as a good person because you're fixated on this awful person over here that you've created. Now, because this is important, let's go through another good smearing example. Candidate for Arizona Governor, Kari Lake. Left to your own devices, you might accidentally see her as someone who cares about her country and state and wants to protect them by having legal immigration.
Kari Lake certainly has been one of those women who is transforming the landscape of politics in ways I've never seen before. She's been trolling tremendously, and she just knows what she's doing, man. And she has certainly left many of us looking at politics from a different perspective. She's looking to fix things up. And I think, her opponent, Katie Hobbs, she knows that she just can't face Kari Lake and totally defend herself against her argument because she doesn't have any positive argument to defend. Uh, and I think that's really what is going on. That's kind of why she's avoiding the debate. It's not because she doesn't want to debate, particularly, it's because she knows she can't defend herself against Kari Lake. I mean, when you hear Kari Lake talk, you can understand why Katie Hobbs is like, oh no, we can't have this. It's just run. So JP is doing a good enough job with this one as well. Let's keep going. Let's go back to the video here.
See her as someone who cares about her country and state and wants to protect them by having legal immigration processes upheld. She wants to keep drugs and human trafficking from just openly frolicking over the border.
Yeah.
She wants to keep taxes low, and she wants to clean up public schools. But she's a Republican. So now we imagine the new person over here and make up some very unsavory things that turn you off about that person. Well, she's a conspiracy theorist and she thinks there's a biological difference between men and women. I have never noticed that when I'm having sex with my wife. She's crazy and probably transphobic and racist too. And now you couldn't possibly vote for this person that you said those things about. Pro tip, if your creativity fails...
It's like the smear campaign is actually a very powerful way to defame someone's character and literally make them to look evil when really they are not. And I think the Democrats have done a positive job smearing a lot of Republicans, and I think it's a vice versa. But I can see how messed up that is. It's almost like they want you to think of someone in a particular way, and they will take, for example, one person's behavior, bad behavior, and they will use that to determine everyone. So let's keep going.
New person over here and make up some very unsavory things that turn you off about that person. Well, she's a conspiracy theorist and she thinks there's a biological difference between men and women. I have never noticed that when I'm having sex with my wife. She's crazy and probably transphobic and racist too. And now you couldn't possibly vote for this person that you said those things about. Pro tip, if your creativity fails you while you're smearing someone, just resort to the utility smears of transphobic, homophobic, misogynist, and racist. The person you're smearing can't possibly refute these claims because you're not even talking about them. Now let me use fear to help further convince you that it's not okay to change your mind and vote with your conscience this time. Here is a fact. Only dumb, unstable people ever allow themselves to change their mind.
It's crazy. Some of us are actually believing this. We believe that we shouldn't change our minds concerning what is happening in the political landscape. Despite what's happening, we just like turn our eyes, turn our blind eyes. So it's like some of us, we complain, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's like, I want nothing to do with politics, but politics want everything to do with you. You may say, I'm apolitical, but you will see in your taxes that politics is knocking at your door. So, while I do agree we shouldn't be like all over the place concerning this thing, but we should at least be involved enough to speak for our families and our loved ones and to raise our voice, whether for or protest against what is happening, because we do have something to do concerning some of these things. And I know a lot of Christians who say I'm gonna just stay out of it. And I was one of those who like I want to stay out of it altogether. Well, to do that is not safe either, because it might be even worse. And I do believe prayer, Bible study, preaching of the word is the heart of the solution of everything that we are suffering in our culture. But there's also voting. There's also having the discussion. There's also exposing what's happening. So you kind of have to be involved to a degree, so you have a level of knowledge of what's going on, so that you can have a conversation in the most appropriate way, cohesively as well. So that's kind of where I stand with that. But again, like JP is saying, no matter what they say, we got to vote blue, right? No matter how wrong they are, we must vote blue, because regardless of what they're doing wrong, let's ignore that. Let's vote blue. Sarcastically speaking, that's just supposedly the right thing to do. So, yeah.
And you don't want to be one of them, do you? Could you imagine if you looked at the beliefs and worldview that you had when you were in third grade, and how insane it would be if you ever allowed yourself to change your mind from that? We know that learning, growth, and better outcomes never come from changing your mind. When you grasp this concept, you develop a fear response to this person over here who happens to have an R behind their name. Let's use more fear. It's been announced recently by a very trustworthy man reading off a teleprompter that if you allow yourself to vote...
I had to do a reaction video to that very trustworthy man reading off a teleprompter. Let me let you see what he's talking about.
Recently by a very trustworthy man reading...
That was hard to watch. When I've gone through that myself, I was like, this is nothing but smearing, condemning, and abusing people. Yeah, I see. Okay. So LB, you say I'm about to switch my channels. Okay. Very low traffic, and I think it's because of my past content. I got you. I got you. Yeah, let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready for that and send it over to me as well. Vote on election day. On what? As messes with machine algorithm, harder to cheat. Insight. Thank you. Yeah, the smearing campaign has been going on way too long. And I think the more, and it seems to me, I'm one of those guys, it's like the more you speak negatively about a particular person and you're not giving me enough evidence why you hate the person so much, is the more I want to know, and I'm attracted to that. So it's like the more I see Democrats speaking against Republican and they're not giving enough evidence for their statements, is the more I'm like, maybe the Republicans are more righteous than you are. It's like, and I began to actually love the Republican Party starting this year, or a number of reasons. One in particular is I started watching a lot of Black conservatives videos. I began to see these Black conservatives had common sense. And I saw Uncle Tom 1, Uncle Tom 2. These were strong for me. And I began to watch Candace Owens. I began to see that these people were saying a lot of things that are true. Black conservatives channels, Officer Tatum, and also Larry Elder. And not only that, we had a lot of other people as well. Tucker Carlson. I begin to realize this is such an intelligent guy, and many others. And JP has been one of those as well, who has been awaking me up from. I guess I was apolitical. It doesn't mean I was Republican or Democrat. I think I was more leaning toward the Democratic Party somewhat. But when you see the arguments of what's happening in the world, the fight over the transgender movement, the fight regarding inflation, the smearing campaigns, and the voting fraud and all these different things. When you look at all of that, you're like, man, it's like the Democrats have gone crazy, and the woke ideology. Oh my goodness, it's like an acid, man. It just destroys everything. Everything it touches, it messes it up, man. It rottens everything. So I'm like, oh Lord, I just can't get with that. So certainly there has to be something different. I have to make a better decision, and that's kind of where I begin to look to see what else is out there that's making a lot more sense. And JP certainly has been a crucial one in teaching me these things as well. So I truly appreciate that. Guys, I want to apologize. I have this live stream running for like an hour and 48 minutes. I'm going to tell you what I did wrong. I have two YouTube channels. So in my Look and Live Bible study channels, that live stream was going on for about an hour and 20 minutes. I just realized, oh my Lord, I did not click Look and Live. I had clicked Look and Live Bible studies. So I have the live stream running, and there's so many videos I've already gone through. So anyway, I'm going to take it all down and we do everything again. So you're not going to miss anything, but you could have been part of this live stream and engaged with me for a long time. All right. LB, send it to my Facebook account. Yeah, I know that's where we spoke before. So send it there and I'll stay in touch with you that way. No problem. Not looking good for Democrats. They are not looking good. Regardless of how we may feel about the Republican Party, you cannot say with a good conscience that the Democrats are a better option. There's no way you can say that unless we are lying to ourselves. Uh, so by talking groups poll on what Americans are really worried about, not looking good for the Democrats. Man, they're not looking good for them. New York might actually go in red with governor race. Yes, there was a recent debate, which the governor of New York is she a governor? The lady that's there now who took over for Andrew Cuomo. Uh, so anyway, I think isn't it the mayor is uh Eric Adam. Well, anyway, that recent debate that I saw between the Republican and Democrat and what they were talking about as far as protecting their states is very insightful. And New Yorkers should have a lot of hope. And I think, and a lot of New Yorkers are beginning to wake up too. They're realizing what the Democrats have been doing is not good. It's killing us. It's killing us. And we can't sit there and keep allowing it to happen. Too many of us have to bury our children in the name of political expediency. And you can't keep allowing this to happen. No, we got families to protect. We got people to save here, man. And criminals must be held accountable for their crimes. Simple as that.
Behind their name. Let's use more fear. It's been announced recently by a very trustworthy man reading off a teleprompter that if you allow yourself to vote red, then you are a dangerous extremist. Now, with that intimidation tactic at play, you have two choices. You can either abide by your courage and vote with your conscience, or you can cower down in fear from the intimidation and vote accordingly. And I don't know about you, but I know I'm the type of person who's intimidated into the correct answer. In closing, we're living at a critical time, and admittedly, the media does a pretty good job of smearing people for you. But with midterms approaching and Dems way down in the polls, and a lot of Democrats already unfortunately announcing that they'll be voting red, during this critical time, you can't leave it all up to the media. You've got to take it upon yourself and do the work to make sure you help make a difference in making sure that no difference is made. It's my sincerest hope that when you weaponize these tactics against yourself, you'll be able to put your conscience and critical thinking into a grave where they belong so you can keep voting blue no matter who. This message is paid for by the United States for a Destructed America Foundation.
Oh my goodness, he's got issues. You know that, right? Yeah. So, guys, what are you voting for? Who are you voting for this year? And I know some of you are already thinking about it, and as you should, because a change must come. A change must come. While I do not have my hope in this world, I'm a realist. While at the same time, I'm not going to be naive to trust a system that I know that is failing miserably. And I'll take my chances on the side of sanity than to go with good looks and so on. So, Yeah. So look out today, guys. There are a number of videos coming out. I know there's a video that I'm live streaming right now. I'm premiering right now as well.